Okay, great. All right, thanks everyone. Thanks for bearing with that. I'm happy to see, someone who joined during that, so I'm glad we could wait. So for today's webinar, I'm going to present on how to find portals on ESS-DIVE and create your own data collection in a new data portal. My name is Madison Burrus. I'm a computer systems engineer with ESS-DIVE. And I've presented on portals in the past, so this is kind of a new iteration on this presentation. Part of the reason why we want to give out to present on this topic today. So it's not only to review data portals and outline the key features that we have available, but we have recently released new features for data portals on ESS-DIVE. So one of those is something we call the portals page, and allows you to easily find data portals. And another new feature that we've had is an advanced data filtering tool in data portals. And this is just a real quick, this is what allows you to create your data collection. And we've had this out for a couple months now, but it's recently been enhanced. So we'll go over that in detail here. I have a note here saying that we won't be going over portals how to create portals from scratch, but we do have webinar material from previous months available online if you need some more in-depth guides from start to finish. Okay, so in our first section, we'll talk about, we'll do a review of what is a data portal for anyone who doesn't know yet. So a data portal is a collection of any ESS-DIVE data sets, and it allows you to easily highlight and share a number of data sets and research projects all in one place. So to kind of better conceptualize this, if we take a look at the ESS-DIVE data search page, this is actually one view of ESS-DIVE data. And in this case, the search page allows you to review every data set that's been published on ESS-DIVE. So if we look to a data portal here, this is a unique data view. And in this case, this particular portal has a collection of 226 data sets that are all related to a specific research topic that is highlighted here in the title. So it really narrows and changes the focus of the data sets on ESS-DIVE.
Madison, it's still a little hard to hear you. So if you have any other ideas of something to fix your audio, that would help.
Yeah, so I'll take a moment to pause and I'll call in. So give me just 1 minute.
I think while we're waiting for Madison, maybe if people who are here can put a few things in the chat about what you're expecting to do with respect to the portals, and what would be the most helpful for you from this webinar, that we could just sort of use that as a little bit to guide us through this webinar.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, that's better.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Thanks for bearing with me as I fix that. Okay, so moving on, I'll quickly go through a couple of example portals using the portals that are currently public on ESS-DIVE. So what you've been seeing on screen here is an example of a data portal based on project data. So the Alpine treeline warming experiment is an ESS project, and so this data portal here is being used to display all of the data packages that they have published. Here we have a portal based on an experiment, and the Spruce project is just a subset of a larger ESS project. So that project could have multiple portals associated with it. And in this case, the Spruce project is a major research topic that that project is working on. So it deserved its own portal here. Next is an example of a field site data portal. So the Watershed SSA has a number of data publications related to it, but this particular data portal also includes any data publications related to this specific field site. So it goes a little bit beyond the project. This is an example of a data portal based on a research topic. I believe this is primarily funded by a single ESS project, but it includes a wide variety of data published on ESS-DIVE related to this research topic. So it also deserved its own portal. Similarly, we have another research topic here, and this is a portal that I've used as an example in the past, and I will be using as an example in the future. And this is similarly a research topic data portal centered around carbon dioxide, fossil fuel emission data. So one other thing I want to highlight about data portals that I'll only mention here, and I won't spend too much time talking about, but it's the data portal Freeform pages, and it's these Freeform pages that allow you to give your data collection broader scientific context beyond the dataset metadata alone. And this is where you can describe in detail about your project, your research topic, or your field site, or whatever you're creating your data portal about. As you can see here, there's a lot of information here, and there's also a number of pages that talk about the project, that talk about different components of the project, and also even has a fact page. So there's a lot that you can do with data portals in terms of providing additional information. And you can really include as many pages as needed. So in this next section, we'll review why data portals can be useful for you and your project. So one very advantageous feature in data portals is the metrics feature. And so there are metrics for all individual data packages. And what a data portal does is that it summarizes data contribution and use across all of the data packages that are in your portal. So you can easily see a summary of how much data has been published, and this is what you're seeing on screen in terms of the number of data sets that are published, as well as the amount of the file content. And then you can also review data use statistics across the entire collection. So I will show you what I mean here. So that will include aggregate downloads across all your data packages. It'll aggregate the views, and it'll also aggregate the citations. Another reason is that data portals increase the findability of your data sets. Because data portals narrow the view, the listing of data sets, it makes it easier to find data sets in ESS-DIVE, and it allows for more specific data searches because you've already filtered the data collection quite a bit in order to present your data portal. And the last reason we'll mention here is that data portals also elevate your project identity. It becomes very easy to access all your project data at once and also to identify your project. And for smaller projects, this can be very useful because this portal can also act as a personalized website. As we saw earlier, you can include so much descriptive information. It really would be like your own private web page. What you're seeing on screen here, we'll go into in more detail in our next section. But I want to pause real quick to see if anyone has any questions since I blew through the review material. Okay, there'll be more opportunities later, but just wanted to give an early opportunity. So here we're going to talk about one of our latest and newest features on ESS-DIVE. We call this one the portals page. So if any of you have noticed, we have a new menu item on our repository main page, and it's called portals. This portal dropdown will show you, it'll say find portals and portal help. The find portals will direct you to the portal page, and portals help will direct you to all portal related documentation. And it will explain all the features that you'll see here in this presentation. So if you click on Find Portals, you'll be directed to the portal page. And if you look at the top right of the screen, you'll see that we are not signed in. That indicates that this is publicly accessible. So anyone who has never seen ESS-DIVE before can find this page, and they can browse through the public portals. It will list all portals that have been public, set to public on ESS-DIVE, and it makes it much easier to access than before. And if you log in, as you can see here, I've logged in, and you're looking at my portals list here. So any data contributor can also see their private portals that they've created in the past. They can edit them from the screen, and they can also create new portals from the screen. So the user interface is much improved in the last few weeks than from what we had previously. So for a majority of this presentation, we'll talk about how to filter your data collection in a data portal. So we'll talk about how it can be done, and we'll also offer some suggestions on how to use the data filtering tool. So what is the data filter? In simple terms, the data filter is a rule-based tool that you'll find in the data tab, and it allows you to choose what metadata you want to see in your collection. So in what you're seeing on screen here is it's an edit session. So this is not the usual view that you see in a data portal when you're visiting it publicly, but it's a tool that pops up only once you hit the edit button. So let's look at it in a little more detail. So the data filter tool has three main components. The first component here that you see on screen allows you to select the metadata fields that you want to query on, that you want to filter on. So this allows you to choose what you want the filter to look for. You'll see when you're in the tool that a drop-down list will appear, and it has all metadata that you see in a data package. And when you hover over each field, a description pops up to help you understand what exactly that field is. Looking at our next component, it's where you choose which operator you want to use, and so this tells the filter how it will choose data sets. And as you can see here, it's a list of 6 basic operators. It's pretty straightforward. Equals, contains, is, empty. And similar to the metadata fields, if you hover over one of the operators, a description will pop up to let you know how the filter will take that information. So the final component is to type in a value, and this will tell the filter what to find, what to look for in the metadata that you selected. This is a free text field, so you can select whatever you want, and this is a little different because for a vast majority of the metadata, there is no dropdown to select from. So you'll need to, for example, know the exact name of the project title that you're looking for, in the case of this example that I have here. But if you are searching for people, because as you'll see later, you can search for by author names, and you can also search by data contributors, the people who have created the data sets. If you select on that, a dropdown will appear, and that at least is pretty useful since you'll have all the ORCID IDs and usernames on hand if you just start typing in their name. So real quick, before we go into the examples, I just want to go over how the data filter logic works. And the basic foundation is that you can enter as many rules as you want. However, your data sets must follow all rules. And that's because it's based on the Boolean logic and command. And so I just have a quick visual to help visualize this, but yeah, you'll see this a little better when we have examples. And then the other component of the logic behind this data filter is that within a rule, you do have opportunity to use or. So while you don't have the flexibility to choose if your data sets obey rule 1 or 2, you don't have that flexibility, but when you're within a rule, you can tweak it to yield some broader results. And so I'll show, we actually have an example of that right here that we can look at real quick. So here we're looking at all 3 components that we walked through earlier. And on the leftmost side, when I selected metadata fields, I decided to select abstract or keywords. And I wanted to see a list of any data sets that contain the word watershed in either the abstract or the keywords. And so this would yield broader results than if you searched for abstract contains watershed plus rule 2, where keywords contains watershed, because that would give you very narrow results. So here we'll just look at some examples to help better conceptualize this. So here I'm using an example from our friendly spruce project. And you'll see here I brought abstract and keywords back in because I was curious to, because I knew that some data sets did have the word spruce in their keyword. As well as used in the abstract. So I wanted to see what those results looked like. And to make sure that I was getting the data that I wanted, I also included a rule to make sure that those data sets that were appearing in the list were funded by the project that I was expecting it to be funded by. So this made sure that, if there were any data sets that mentioned the word spruce in their abstract, that those weren't included unless they were funded by the right project. So if we look at another example where I used a different metadata field to perform my query, here I wanted to make sure I got watershed function SFA data sets, but because I have some additional insider information about this project, I know who has been submitting those data sets. You can also query by who has submitted those data sets. So in this case, these 2 people, one of which is myself, we had submitted a different quantity of data sets. I believe one submitted 10 and the other one had submitted 89 data sets. And so by taking advantage of the OR logic, I was able to bring in all 99 of those data sets into this listing in this data portal. So that gave me a broader result. And it also made sure that I was only getting the correct project data. So there's a lot of flexibility with this tool, and it also helps make sure you get an accurate listing. So here I just have, it's a little wordy, but it goes over some of the information that we've already discussed. Like the first two bullet points, I showed that in example 1, and here, in examples 1 and 2. So project plus the equals operator equals whatever project title if you're choosing, and then here in the submitter, in the second example, I'm taking advantage of the OR operator as I showed you. An additional recommendation I have is to include project and funding organization in your first metadata, in your metadata selection, just in case you have collaborators that are not funded by that project, but you want it, for example, for a field site, and you want to pull in that information as well. And the final suggestion I have is to take advantage of the alternative identifier field. And this may not be useful for a number of use cases, but if the data packages that you're bringing in have, if they have been published already in other repositories, it's possible that they also have specific IDs from that other repository, and when they came into ESS-DIVE, they you maintained that ID as an alternate identifier. And so that could be kind of a signifier, a way for you to sort of, select the collection that you want to see. Yeah, so, and this will be available for reference, of course, on our website. So there's no need to memorize it here, but there's just a variety of options to choose from if you need to filter a project data collection. I think I'll pause here for a moment just to see if there's any questions, because I ran through that kind of quickly. And so I guess I know we have a couple of people here who would be familiar with this feature. And so I'm wondering if anyone has questions about how they've worked with portals in the past, like any difficulties they've encountered while using the data filter tool. So I'll just stop talking for a moment and give you guys an opportunity to speak up to let me know about your experiences or any questions you have. Yeah, hi, Stephanie. Yeah, please go ahead.
Hi, I actually have two questions. The first one is on these rules. So if you have multiple rules, is it basically like either one or both have to be satisfied?
Yeah, so they both have to be satisfied. So using this example that I have on screen, if if we had just rule 2, it would give you all the data packages that were funded by the Climate Change Terrestrial Ecosystem SFA. But by adding in this other rule about like trying to find if the word spruce appears in the abstract or keywords, so any of those climate change terrestrial ecosystem SFA data packages that don't have that word spruce, yeah, they won't appear in this listing. And that's part of why we have a listing of only 20 data packages here, because I do believe this project has published quite a few more than 20 data packages.
Got it. Okay, thank you. My second question is about portals in general. And I came a bit late, so I'm not sure if you covered this already, but I've practiced creating a portal, but it's private, I believe, right now. And I was wondering if that's because we're still in the alpha stage, or do I have to publish it for it to be public?
Yeah, so they do need to be published in order for them to be public. So that's really simple. All we ask is that you email us, and then we can go ahead and do that. What that does, it just allows allows people some time to kind of build up their data portal, so it doesn't automatically appear in the all portals listing. Because I know sometimes it can take a little while to populate like the Freeform pages. But yes, if you are ready to publish, to make your data portal public, we can do that for you very easily and quickly. Okay, yeah, thanks, Stephanie. Yeah, just let me know if you have any follow-up questions based on that. But yeah, thanks. Yeah, it was great to. Yeah, thanks for bringing it up. I actually didn't go over the publishing process early in the presentation, so I think that was a really good question.
Madison, I think Terry had a follow-up question on the rules in the chat.
Oh yeah, thanks for bringing it up.
I think she already answered it. I think I sent it at the same time Stephanie asked hers.
Oh, I'm sorry, what was that, Terry?
Oh, I sent my question about the same time Stephanie was asking hers. So I think it's the same.
Oh,
maybe.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I think it could be a little different.
Okay.
Yeah, so let's see. So within a rule, the operator or is available, but between rules, it is always and. Yeah, yeah, we went over the second part with between rules, it is always and. Yeah, we did go over that with Stephanie. But yeah, so I'll also expand on this by saying within a rule, it's the only option is or. So if for any reason, for any reason you wanted to say abstract and keywords within a single rule, you wouldn't be able to do that. You would have to make a second rule that says abstract contains spruce, and then you'll have the first rule that says keywords contain spruce.
Okay, thanks for that clarification too.
Yeah, no problem. I was curious to hear from anyone here. Would anyone be curious to see like a more live demo of this? Like, has anyone been having trouble creating their data collection, or is thinking about creating their data collection, and they just would like to see, me navigating through this in real time rather than screenshots? I would say one disadvantage of the screenshots is that I can't show you the entire page at once due to just size restraints. And so if that would be useful to anyone here, I'd be happy to go to a demo. Yeah, feel free to mention in the chat if you like that idea, or do a thumbs up. Oh, great. Okay. So I will exit the presentation real quick. And let's head over to ESS-DIVE. Okay, so I'll also take this opportunity to point out the portals button. And just a heads up, I am logged in with my admin account, so you'll see quite a few additional data packages here. So if we go here and we click on the Find Portals button, we'll see the data portal page. And I'll just quickly click the new portal button because, again, I'm logged in with my admin account, so I have a little bit of extra access to the permissions here. You know what? Actually, here, why don't I log out? I think I want to give you a better experience on that. And let's make sure I'm signed in. Oh, actually, I just realized we're actually going to stay on this page. Sorry about that really quick detour. I won't go into detail, but I actually do need to stay on this account. Okay, let's go back to Find Portals. Let's create a new portal here. Okay, and I'm going to pass by the settings page. This is something that we've covered in previous webinars, and go straight to the data tab. And you'll see a completely blank data collection. So let's start adding rules. I think something I want to start with, let's just to get this populated, I'm going to start by searching by data packages that I have submitted myself. I really like this filter. This is actually one of our recent enhancements, and I find it very useful myself because it's, like I mentioned before, a majority of these fields don't have drop-down values, and so they'll show you what I mean. Like when you start typing here, some suggestions don't appear, but for the submitted username, they do. So I really like that because I don't have to look up anything myself. And I could find all of my collaborators if I wanted to. So here I'm seeing some of the data sets I published. You can also see the portals I've created, which is kind of nice for myself if I wanted to data portal of my personal contributions. But that's maybe not necessarily what we want the data portal to be about. But so yeah, we have our whole list here. The map is being populated. And let's add another rule that narrows down the selection a little bit more. In my case, I think I had submitted for more than one project before, so I think I would first like to see data sets just for one project. So you'll find project under the award and funding category. And so we'll click on project. And again, we have a description here as well. So we'll say equals, and I think I will use an example that I already provided in my presentation. So I'll just put in watershed function SFA for starters. And so that narrowed down the list to 12. And now let's see, I'll X this out because now I'm curious to see, the results I see for the other project that I submitted data for. And so this one is called the next generation system experiment. And just in case, I have a feeling that I may have spelled, yeah, so it doesn't exactly match what I'm looking for. So because I didn't put in the correct project title. So I think I'll change equals to contains. And let's see if I can use this shorthand name. Not, how about tropics? Here we go. Okay. And so now I was able to reduce this to just the project I was looking for. And this one worked out because I knew that because of rule 1, I would already have a narrow list of projects to choose from. So just typing in the word tropics sufficed. But if I was not using myself as an additional filter and I just put this in, I'm getting now many more data sets that aren't actually funded by NG Tropics. So if I want to get that title correct, I will navigate to the ESS-DIVE project list. So let's actually, where can we make this?
I think, Madison, perhaps the best thing here is for people to go into the metadata submission form on ESS-DIVE and use whatever was used to submit data sets for the project. So instead of going to the project list.
Yeah, thanks, Charu. I think it's a good suggestion. Did you have another comment? Okay.
No.
So
yeah, it's just what I would suggest is there's a couple things here that happens. So when you populate your metadata, you are allowed to pick your project, and we highly recommend that people use a consistent project name by either picking what's in the dropdown here, or by if you're using an API to submit data, to make sure that the project name is always consistent, just because then it enables you to create this project filter. Sometimes we find people just typing in the name of the project, and if people don't consistently use the same project title, then it's going to be a lot harder to create your filter in your collection. And we, as such, centrally, I think, Emily, correct me if I'm wrong, but we don't really, check on the consistency of these project names when we publish data. So that's really up to the data contributors to make sure that they are really the correct project name.
So we do have a check now for the project name, just to make sure that it's consistent with our lists.
Okay, thanks for that clarification.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Stephanie, yeah, these project names are in the dropdown, and we periodically get updates from BER about the funded projects. So that includes all the university projects that are funded in that cycle. So we make periodic updates to this list. So it probably won't have the latest round of university FOAs yet, but it should be pretty soon, at least by the time those projects are ready to be submitting data. So if there's a project that should be listed here and is not, please reach out to ESS-DIVE support. It just might be that we don't have that on the official list from BER.
great, thanks, Charu. While you guys are talking about that, I was kind of typing in the project field just to kind of give an example of how searching with the autocomplete feature works, and also to give an example of the kind of drop down, the auto-populated options you'll see. Yeah, so like Shar said, if you're in this feature and you want to find the exact name of the project you're looking for, this would be one way to do this. And I'll just do this one more time. So here we go. There's a hyphen there that I didn't get, and it looks like I also had added another hyphen there. So I will just grab this instead. And you can ignore the PI equals Jeffrey Chambers here and just copy the exact title. So let's X this out and instead enter the title. And it looks like in this case, the 43 data sets, they were in fact from this project. So yeah, and I can kind of confirm that just by looking at these titles that I'm familiar with. So it was good to make that confirmation, since we are searching on all the public data sets, and you really can bring in a lot of data sets that maybe you weren't intending to. So let's see, I think I'll take a moment to scroll through these a little bit more. There's another metadata field that I like taking advantage of, and it's all the way at the top, so it's easy to identify, and it is any metadata field. So this could be useful if you know that the key, maybe you're not sure exactly which field maybe a certain word will appear in. Maybe it'll be in the abstract or the keywords, maybe it'll be in the title, and maybe it varies across all the data sets you're looking for. So the any metadata field option can help a lot with that. And if we just exit out real quick and we hover over this, it will again give you a description. So why don't we take one more example. I think here, let's do any metadata field contains the word wetland, just for something random. So yeah, we have a number of data sets here. And I think the next thing I'll search for is author names. So I'll add a rule, and for the sake of this example, I think I'll look for anyone with the last name Rodriguez. So if we go here and we head to people and organizations and select on all creator last names, yeah, I don't necessarily want to do just the first creator. So let's do all creator last name equals Rodriguez, and hopefully I spelled that right. Okay, and so for this particular data portal, we've narrowed it down to a specific, in my case, I'll kind of consider this a research topic, kind of, related to a specific keyword that you're looking for, and it also includes this person in the publication. And so we have quite a narrow list here. So yeah, there's a lot of different options you have here. I'm going to head back to the presentation now. So real quick, I just want to close out of this. You can just, in case anyone hasn't done this before, you can easily start a blank submission form and then just leave it. And so that, so you don't end up submitting any empty data packages or anything like that. You can just head out and it's no problem. Okay, so let's resume the presentation. So for our last section, I just want to go over the resources that we have available to assist with data portal creation from start to finish. So the first resource I want to highlight is our data portal documentation. This includes all the, so the documentation has been updated. It includes all the information that we've covered in this webinar, and it also includes information that we've covered in previous webinars that talked about how to start a portal from start to finish. And it has some instruction on how to make your portal public. So it addresses your earlier question, Stephanie, about maybe when that pretty much says email us when you're ready. And it also includes the following resources that I'm about to highlight. So something else you'll find in our documentation are tutorial videos. So these tutorial videos don't talk about using the data filter tool in detail, but it does go over data filtering in general. And this something that was produced by our partners at the Arctic Data Center, but they also take advantage of data portals in their repository. So they have short videos. If you can't quite see the thumbnail, each of them is either 1 minute or 1.5 minutes long. And this is a really great resource that you can share with any of your collaborators who are new to ESS-DIVE or your colleagues, and you want to get them started with either revising or making a new portal. This could be something that helps familiarize them with it. And it's a little more, easier to get into than maybe the full-fledged documentation. And so the other thing I want to mention is that we have resources for developing freeform pages. So I didn't show this here, but I wanted to make sure to mention it in this webinar, that the freeform pages are built up using markdown language. So if anyone hasn't used markdown before, don't worry, we have plenty of resources directly available in a fresh data portal. So what I mean by that is the screenshot is actually taken from a data portal edit session. And when you're in a freeform page, you'll actually see a cheat sheet dropdown that shows you some quick examples of how you can use markdown. We also have examples in line in the edit page that you can you can base your text off of. And we also include links within the text as well. So if you're in here and you scroll down a little bit, you'll see just like some websites that you can go to, and they have 10-minute tutorials, they have other examples, a more extensive cheat sheet. So you'll find once you get the process started, you'll find all the resources there right in front of you to help get this process along. So just in summary, portals are a very powerful tool for connecting related data sets together. And it allows you to highlight things that normally get a little buried on the search page, especially as we have an increasing number of publications coming out. I think the last time I gave this presentation, we had around 400, and now we have, a little over 500. So it grows every year, and having a data portal can really help you maintain your presence on ESS-DIVE. And it's also super easy to get things started, because you can always open a new data portal, set some rules, start writing about the project in the freeform pages, and just let it develop over time as you revise it yourself or with your colleagues. So with that, I will say thank you everyone for attending, and I'll leave a very generous amount of time for questions and discussions. We have a smaller group today, so we can really take the next 10 minutes to talk about portals in any way you'd like. And on screen you'll also see a reminder that you can follow us on Twitter, join our mailing list, or email us at any time at our support email. Okay, yeah, thanks everyone for attending if you're on your way out. Yeah, Terry.
I have 3, I think, quick questions. So on the portal, can you have multiple editors?
Yes, you can have multiple editors for a single portal.
Okay. And when you set up the filter, when new records are added, are those automatically pulled in to the portal?
Yes, they are automatically pulled into the portal. And this is something that may cause you to want to check in on the data portal every night, because you'll see it grow over time too. So it won't be static. Once you finish the portal, it's not as if it'll be static. So that's another actually really nice part about it.
So if there's data sets coming in that don't really fit under your topic, you just have to play with the filtering tool to get those to go away.
Yeah. Depending on how the filters are set up, just to kind of put in a visual. So right now we have this list of 20. Yeah, if a new data package is published that does happen to fit this criteria, but it's not what you want, I think one way to remedy that would be to open. You would have to play around with it, and you could kind of open the data package, and maybe there is someone who submitted the data package or someone who's in the author list who you don't need in your data portal. That could be one way, just at the top of my head, that you could kind of play around with that to make sure the data publication doesn't enter your collection.
Thanks.
Just another suggestion I can add. This is where maybe taking advantage of the keywords metadata field could could be of help. Because if your data packages are being published with a consistent keyword, that's something that you can use to very easily identify the data packages that you're looking for. You said you had a third question, right, Terry?
That was 3. I think one kind of flowed after the other. Thanks.
Oh, great. Okay. Yeah, I wanted to make sure I didn't talk over it. Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. Yeah, hi, Stephanie.
Hi, I have one more question. Well, first, thank you for going through this. This is really helpful, and it reminded me that I should get back into searching and creating the portal. But once I publish it, am I able to edit these filtering rules after the fact, or should I have that done beforehand?
Yeah, you can absolutely edit this. So this is a little different from the way we publish data sets. We actually kind of mix up terminology a little bit. I try to be, when I talk about data portals, I try to use just the term like make it public, because it doesn't have any formal publishing rules. It doesn't need to fulfill any specific criteria at all. And when we make it public, we don't really question your decision to make it public. We trust that you're ready, and there's no revision process, because data portals can be so many things, and who are we to dictate what it should or shouldn't look like. So in this case, once it's public, you can go in and edit the rules however you like. It's really all up to you.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And thanks for coming up with your questions.
Madison, do you have any recommendations for if people wanted to cite a data portal, or if that's possible?
Yeah, so at the moment, we don't have specific citation rules. Right now, we just recommend, like, if you want to talk about the portal itself, we just have the link personally, but you can in the data portal, using a Freeform page, you can make a note about acknowledgements to the data portal if there's certain information that you've added that you want credit for. I don't know if Char, you want to speak on that more, but as it stands, we don't have formal citations for data portals.
Yeah, that's right. We don't. It's not like a data package. I think it's just a URL, which you can definitely refer to, just like a regular website.
Yeah, thanks for mentioning that, Joan.
I guess I can just suggest that if people do need to like create a collection of data sets and cite it, I think one option that that Charu and Zareen did for the watershed function SFA was to write a data paper. So that could be an option for people if you are interested in creating more of a static view of your collection of project data. It won't be updated like a data portal would be, but if you do need to do that, that could be one option.
It's actually a great suggestion, Joan. I'm going to take note of that, so we can add it to our documentation. We still have a few minutes left. I'll hang around and until the hour or until everyone leaves. so please just let me know if anything comes to mind. But yeah, we have reached the end of the presentation, so it's all the content that I have.
So I think the last thing we want to just add is that for October, we're not going to do this type of monthly webinar, but instead we're going to have one-on-one office hours that are schedulable on demand. So that's something that if any of you are starting to create portals, you have questions, I'd encourage you all to reach out to us during these one-on-one sessions.